But who wore number 45, by the way?
Mike Sellers of Walla Walla, Washington Community College, also known as the fullback that led the way for Clinton Portis for all those years in Washington. Y'all can't touch me when it comes to these numbers. I know I'm set for all the 40s. Liddell Betts will be next week. Then it'll be Chris Cooley. Then it'll be Stephen Davis.
KDot. No, I'm saying we skip this episode. This number for this episode.
Why?
Who else is 45?
Doesn't matter. I'm reclaiming it. Fuck that prick. Mike Sellers is the first 45 I think about.
Not for me. And I don't like the number now. Or Donovan Mitchell. Better.
Yeah, it'll be Mike Sellers.
No,
but Donovan Mitchell's better.
Bob Gibson.
Still Mike Sellers.
I love Bob Gibson.
Oh, it's going to be all Washington 40s, baby.
Oh, okay.
Riggins to Sellers to Liddell Dickey Betts to...
All right.
Also,
I really just want to get to the shit right now.
I feel like the Washington football teams all need some 40s.
Yeah, no.
Sure, we'll talk about it. How about you count us down?
3, 2, 1. Welcome back to All Sorts of Sports episode. To not be
Mike
numbered.
Sellers episode.
Nope, to not be numbered. You want to talk about the Wisp players and shit. So let's start off with your boy Dwayne Haskins. The Wisp actually cut that man before the season was out.
Yep.
It came as a surprise to me. I wasn't expecting to hear that. I mean, I figured it would happen after the season. But yeah.
All right. So full breakdown as far as the Washington play last weekend, and we got beat. We got beat pretty handily by the Carolina Panthers in a game that we needed to win in order to secure a playoff spot. We're still playing for the playoffs next week, but whatever. Dwayne went out there and shat the bed. I mean, just a miserable, pathetic performance. Back to back. I mean, really the only thing he can hang his hat on is week 1 when it came to that comeback, because there was a story that came out of the locker room. He was trying to hype everybody up, and we got to do it for coach, this, that, and the other. And we came down from 17 down, and we came won the game. That is the biggest exception to any rule I have ever heard when it comes to the Dwayne Haskins story. I mean, everything you ever hear about this guy is just how he's not doing what he needs to do behind the scenes and in Ashburn preparing for these games. Like the stories that we've talked about on the pod, there's the training camp video of Thomas Davis letting him know, hey, you're staring down wide receivers. And he acts as though there's nothing, oh, I ain't doing that, and can never be receptive to the feedback. There's the story that comes out, Jay Gruden knew he was a project guy, but he wasn't listening. That was what you kept hearing, the rumors coming out. And everybody, in the unfortunate thing is that a lot of people chalked it up to that racial element when it comes to the black quarterback, where it is that any bad stereotype that has been brought about, he basically has it, which makes you very, very cautious to want to criticize the man. But no, everything has followed the same thing when it comes to him. The first time that I remember hearing anything bad about him was when he got drafted. And on this draft night, he was at a bowling alley or something outside of Washington, where he was charging people to get in. He had his uncle's stuff, like you couldn't leave without buying one of his uncle's sweatshirts. He was charging for autographs and everything else. We had all these other people that want to sit around their families or at the most go to the draft itself to get drafted. No, he was all about the marketing aspect of things. He didn't care about getting better on the field. Then you even hear today, in order for him to wear number 7 for Washington, he had to get permission from our greatest number 7, which was Joe Theismann. And Theismann gave it to him. And Dwayne said all this talk when he got the number about how he wanted Theismann's number and he was going to talk to him and try to mentor him. Theismann came out today and said he did not hear not one word from Dwayne Haskins. He never reached out. He never wanted anybody to be a mentor. He never wanted it all. Then you remember on the sideline when he was trying to hype up the offensive lineman. What can I do for you? And the offensive lineman looked at him like, has he lost his goddamn mind? Then even in this last game, when Heineke came in and stepped in,
Oh my God.
Chase Young runs out onto the field to go tell the man, like, hey, we got your back. You can do this. Heineke turns back at him and says, this is what I do. Just full swagged out, which is amazing. But what Chase did is realize that he's got to follow what Dwayne realizes he's got to follow Chase out there on the field. So he runs over to try to do something to Heineke, and Heineke basically blew him the fuck off. Get the fuck away from me. He's not a leader in that locker room. They could put the C on his chest all they needed to. And the final nail in the coffin, which is what I even said on the pod, was that after he did what he did during the middle of a pandemic and put his team at risk, that to me was a cuttable offense. Mm-hmm. And to see what he did out on the field and what he's doing behind the scenes, no, it's over. It should have been over. And look, you could see the fall of grace to think of, you got a quarterback that got drafted in the first 2 rounds of an NFL draft that is now out on his ass, and he cleared waivers. His career is looking like it's over unless he has a full-blown come-to-Jesus moment.
I mean, he went from just being a bad quarterback, which you can have on the sidelines, maybe not a starting quarterback. He went from a bad quarterback to a liability, and I think just given the nature of how it's gone for Dwayne, I don't really think they had any other option other than just to cut him. I mean, that was pitiful. What I saw in the field was a guy who just doesn't have he's got some of the intangibles. He could throw a bullet all day. Like, he can throw that ball far and hard, but like when he's supposed to just dump it, put a little touch on it, he doesn't. When he's supposed to turn up field and get the first down with his feet, he goes left. It's just, he didn't do the prep work to know the looks that he was getting, and he was just getting fucking trounced. And you know what? Look, I think JJ Watt said it best this week, is that your job as a NFL player is to go out and work really hard and try to win the game. And if you're not willing to do it, stay home. And quite frankly, Dwayne wasn't willing to put in the work. He'd rather be at a strip club. He thought he could do it just based on talent, which he doesn't have enough of. He's not Patrick Mahomes, who just learned how to read defenses, but he can do that because he's so talented. Dwayne doesn't have it. And I would not be surprised if Dwayne never gets another shot, because it's not like he's RG3 and he came out and showed flashes and then got hurt. He didn't show, there was no flashing.
Well, see, this is the thing.
At the strip club.
The thing, good line. The thing about Dwayne and a lot of young quarterbacks coming in the league, especially if you look at a guy who had such little experience in college, is a lot of times what you could do as a young quarterback is rely on your athleticism because you haven't gotten the playbook down. So if you look at like the Kyler Murrays, the Patrick Mahomes, Russell Wilson, even early on in the career when they didn't have the playbook down, you can rely on your athleticism to keep things going as you continue to learn. And then once you get the passing down, you're going to be okay. And that's what separates you. If you're a pocket quarterback, you have to learn, because you're not going to be able to use your legs to make things happen. You have to learn how to read a defense. So a lot of times when you see these busts early on, you can see it in every throw that Dwayne makes. The boy got an arm. But in college, he could rely on that arm to squeeze that ball in there in tight windows. The defenses are entirely too fast in the NFL to deal with that shit, especially when you're staring down somebody. In college, you can rely on that arm and that athleticism in that arm to do things. Dwayne was staring down receivers all goddamn game. He was throwing fucking lasers, goddamn rockets when he needed to put touch on the ball. Because
6-yard rockets.
Because that's the thing, is he's looked out through his entire career of football so far and realized that my athleticism, which is how hard I can throw a football, is enough to get me by. I'm willing to even go as far as to say that if he was... The only thing separating Dwayne and Jamarcus Russell is the draft position. He's just as bad. Because at the end of the day, you're talking about a guy who wasn't willing to learn. Because you remember the Jamarcus Russell story, which is that they gave him blank tapes to go and say, hey, Jamarcus, we want you to look over the film. He come, oh, it was good film, guys. And they were blank. This is the same kind of work ethic. It's the same Ryan Leafs. The guys that aren't concentrated on getting better. It ain't a black and white thing. It's just whether or not your heart is involved in doing it. And if you're going to be a pocket quarterback in today's NFL, you have to have the right mentality to get it done.
And he just didn't have it. And you know what? He's still 23.
Yeah.
I'm hoping.
He's got what I mean, if he just puts the work in, he can be serviceable somewhere. There's no doubt. I just from what I saw on the sidelines, what we've read, body language, he just doesn't have it right now. And it's not like he's got a lot of time. Like if he doesn't start working now, he won't be good by 25. If he doesn't start by 25, his career's over. Mm-hmm. He's got to want it now. He's got to start working at it now. I kind of hope he gets a chance somewhere else. I think he just kind of blew it here. But if he doesn't want to put in the work, I hope nobody gets a chance.
This feels like a New England.
I live in Washington, D.C.
This feels like a New England pickup. This is picking up somebody else's scraps so somebody would promise. But the thing with Dwayne needs to realize,
does he have promise?
He's got an arm, and there is one intangible that he does have above a lot of other quarterbacks. It's something that Kirk Cousins didn't have. But I don't know whether or not it's necessarily a gift or a curse at this particular point.
But if he's not going to listen to Ron, he's definitely not. He's definitely not going to listen to Bill.
Well, that's the thing. He just isn't mature enough to do it. But what I'm saying, I get where you're coming from. I'm just saying that, look, at the end of the day, regardless of whatever language somebody's trying to speak to you, if your fingers are in your ears and you're saying la, 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 doesn't matter what language you're speaking. You're not going to hear it. And that's what Dwayne's at right now. But the one intangible that he does have that you can see on him, he doesn't give a fuck. So, like, when he throws a pick, he doesn't care. And there is a good element to that. There is a Brett Favre-ishness to that. That a lot of quarterbacks, when they throw that first pick, you can tell they're in their own head. They're not making anything happen. What I saw with Dwayne this last game was not that, him losing control. It was him realizing on the field today, my rocket arm is not enough. It's not enough. I don't have any of the other tools in my tool belt. I don't know how to read these defenses. I'm staring down all these receivers. Nothing's working out. That's what I saw break down.
I only know this one route that's being run here, so I have to stare down this receiver because I haven't done my homework on what the other 4 routes are going to be.
That's him. But I am hopeful that he gets it worked around. But it's going to take a coach willing to take a chance, and hopefully somebody gets in that boy's ear and lets him know. Because right now, we can tell anybody that could be a role model to him, he hasn't reached out. And the onus is not on them to reach out to him. He's got to realize if he wants a career in this league, he's got to do it. Otherwise, I'm going to take a look at Auto Trader and make sure that Bentley's for sale soon because I'm sure it'll be for cheap.
All right.
I was thinking, just last thing, there is an older quarterback in Pittsburgh and a very, very good coach. They're coaching the uncoachables. So
well, they are starting Mason Rudolph this week. I want to see how that works out.
Yeah.
Wait, Mason Rudolph is he from the North Pole?
Mm-hmm. So when this news broke about Haskins, everybody was talking about it, right? I want to touch on like a segment that was aired on ESPN by everybody's favorite commentator,
Booger McFarland, the contraption that blocks people's ability to see the goddamn game on the sidelines.
So yeah, did you guys hear what he said?
I tuned it off after I read the tweet that basically displayed what he was saying.
Please, enlighten me.
Well, it was more so like he was talking about the Haskins story, right? And then he kind of broadly said, like, yeah, the African American players now, like in this generation, like they're not gonna listen to like the warning from Haskins because they're always like they're all concerned about building their brand and not playing the game. And I wanted to shake him. I don't know if I could have moved him, but I wanted to shake him.
Oh, you wouldn't be able to. You would have died. His gravitational force would have had you move circles around him and his belly button or something.
I would have gone boom with the Death Star.
Look, at the end of what I see Booger did is kind of what I just broke down when it came to the Dwayne thing. Is that there are a lot of things from a stereotypical standpoint that people would point to when it comes to this guy, right? But what it boils down to overall is just a difference in mentality when it comes to person. It's not a race thing. I think that anybody
that's
that gets
misconstrued, and that's the problem.
The only racial aspect of it is that the majority of the NFL is black. So the likelihood that you're going to have lazy guys just happens to be black. But Ryan Leaf was a lazy son of a bitch. There are a lot of people that don't put in the work that has happened and been a bust. Johnny Manziel didn't put in the work. These are guys, but here's the other thing is what I'm saying is that the model of quarterback that comes out of college now are usually the dual threat. And you can use your legs to then start buying yourself time to learn more.
Yeah, we're seeing it with Jalen Hurts right now.
Right. If you are a pocket QB, you do not have that luxury. You have to get the books immediately.
Yeah, he just pissed me off with like the way that he went about it, like making it seem like, yeah, these black kids coming up, they're just not disciplined. I'm like, that's fucking stupid.
It's bullshit. Patrick Mahomes even said, was it last year? I just learned how to read defenses. But he was an athlete. But it didn't stop him from trying. He was working at it. And beyond working at it, his athleticism is off the charts. He can disguise certain things that he doesn't know. But it's a learning curve. Unless you're a fucking genius, and trust me, most of these guys are not fucking geniuses. It's going to take time.
And if you take it separately, what Booger said, if you take the branding thing, yeah, of course. I mean that if you look over the
that's not just the athletes. It's people in general.
Right, but if you're an athlete, you make most of your money off branding. Everybody knows it. Golfers, baseball. Well, not baseball.
Agreed.
Basketball, football, any sport, tennis. Like you think those Tissot commercials don't come with a couple $1 million price tag if you're in them? I get that. And that's exactly what you should do as a secondary to your job, because it is your job that allows you to then brand yourself and get all these sweet deals. Dwayne put the cart before the horse.
Which is the same thing. Back in 2012, when Andrew Luck and RG3 came out, RG3 started branding, and they asked Andrew Luck about it, and Andrew Luck said, look, I'd rather focus on my craft right now than worry about that, but let him get his money. It was the most political way to do it, most politically correct way to deal about it. But right now,
it's because Luck went to Stanford.
But here's the thing that Booger's not realizing. The linchpin and the biggest possible tail, as far as somebody worrying about their branding before it came to football, even though it's a guy that I love and it's finally turning out, was Baker Mayfield up until this year. Everybody was criticizing Baker
and the quarterback before him.
Okay. Everybody was criticizing Johnny. Everybody
like, you remember?
Yeah. But see, that's the difference, is that Baker was still working at it. Look, you're either going to look like a goddamn fool if you don't put in the work or whatever. But look, at least you get some coin to go away, but it just depends on what your priorities are.
And look, I got to give props to Baker because I did not think he was going to last. And you can see that he has been putting in the work, and that team has been putting in the work because they are very good. And Baker has gone from a Browns quarterback to a Browns quarterback. Like, they're going to win. This is most games they've won in a decade. Like, they're a good team. And a lot of it is because you can see that they've been putting in the work behind the scenes. Yes, he's making hilarious insurance commercials, and that's great. But he's doing that as a secondary to his job. And it pays off on the field. And guess what? That pays off on the back end too, because you get those commercials.
But it's the difference between mentality between a guy like Baker, who the reason I've always loved Baker is that the mentality is he never got anything handed to him. You're talking about a walk-on guy, had to transfer, had to do this, that, and the other. He wasn't there on some big ride-or-die scholarship. He has one of the most embarrassing moments in college, getting fucking tackled after the slowest runaway ever from a cop.
That is awesome.
But he worked his ass off compared to the Dwayne Haskins who gets drafted 15th, and when the first thing they ask him is, the league's going to be sorry that I had to wait until 15. Some manufactured fucking chip on your shoulder bullshit. There's a
All right.
We're sorry.
Now let's move on to one of the final football topics we got. Yeah, so the Death Star went boom.
Boom, boom.
Yeah.
Boom, boom, boom.
Did you guys watch the game?
No.
No.
All right, so.
No, against Miami?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Of course I watched that.
Okay, cool. So what did you see from that game, objectively speaking?
In terms of both teams?
No, just focus on us. Like, we can talk about the Dolphins next week because they're still playing for something.
Yeah, I mean, in fairness, you should have won.
Yeah. We did. We still can't play cover 2 to save our lives.
what happened was, and it's a tale of two quarterbacks. And I really, honestly, if this works in Miami, it might be a thing. Tua was not seeing the field well. So where he was uncomfortable going downfield, which also speaks to the fact that your defense was playing pretty well for a large portion of the game.
A lot better, like the past 2 weeks.
Because Tua was like 17 for 20 with like 130 yards, which means he wasn't seeing anything comfortable. He was comfortable with down the field. And that may be inexperience. That may be a lot of things. But what you could see was that he wasn't comfortable doing anything but the 4 or 5 yard passes, which may be attributed to the fact that he's a rookie or the fact that you guys were playing pretty good coverage. And then you guys should have put the game away. You should have been up by 25 and then you wouldn't have had any problems. The problem is you let them hang in there and then they realized Tua wasn't comfortable going down the field. And they were like, well, we know a guy who will throw it wherever, whenever for no reason. And they put Fitzmagic in and then you guys fell apart defensively. It's like you almost knew that Tua couldn't do it. Mm-hmm. So you were comfortable. And then as soon as Fitzpatrick came in
with the pass of the year,
the secondary just was like, we don't know where he's going. We don't know how to cover this anymore. And that end of game scenario or situation, Ryan Fitzpatrick could not have done any better. It was a no-look Mahomes pass. Mind you, he didn't mean to not be looking where he was throwing.
Right.
But he knew the timing of that route so well, he didn't need to. What a catch. And what a field goal. Like, if he had missed that, we would have been saying this would have gone the other way. Death Star still intact.
No, let me ask you something. Number one, we missed the extra point, which fucked everything up.
That's been happening a lot this year, though. I don't know.
It's been happening ever since.
But not with Daniel Carlson. He's been very, very, very good.
I mean, the guy for San Francisco made 39 straight field goals and then missed like 3 in a row.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is like he's been very clutch, and this time just fucked up.
You can't hit everything.
But then, what was it? We fucked up cover 2 again. Fitzpatrick threw like it would have been a 15-yard penalty, but that's fine as long as they don't complete the pass too. And since we fucked up the coverage, he was wide the fuck open. We haven't been able to play cover 2 like all year, the past couple of years. And
that's probably a little bit of a personnel issue.
No, not necessarily. It's more so like what they have been taught all year long.
Coaching.
By the now recently fired defensive coordinator, Paul Gunther.
A personnel issue is not limited to the players.
That's why we fired Paul Gunther.
Yeah. And look, I think.
But Ryan, go back to what you said, like starting off in fairness, right?
Yeah.
We have been playing better defense. Like right before we fired Paul Gunther, what was it? 2 straight games of 200 yards rushing.
Yeah.
Like that's ridiculous.
You guys did a lot better although Myles Gaskin just fucking went off, but it was a lot. That was a lot on the passing side too, because of those dink and dunk passes. Look, you got the Raiders need a character change on defense. Obviously, you don't really have an offense problem as long as Carr is healthy. As long as your offense is healthy, it's a good offense. But you guys need a character change on defense, and I don't know what that is.
We need a game changer.
Yeah, and look, if you watch, I watched the Ravens game against the Giants.
Mm-hmm.
Look, they played 9 in the box or 8 in the box the entire game because that's how they play, and they scare the quarterback into making a mistake. And if they get beat, it's because your wide receiver and your quarterback are better.
Look what they got on the back end, man. Like,
and I understand, but also 90% of those balls are not even getting close to the receiver because that's the way they play defense.
Yeah,
like
they got pressure.
The Raiders are the Raiders are in limbo. Like your secondary is not quite good enough to play.
The secondary is very, very, very young. Like we're starting a rookie.
Not good enough. But what I'm saying is you also don't bring enough pressure so that the secondary.
We have no pass rush.
They might not be able to.
Rush and coverage goes together. So you're right.
John Gruden has one of the. If you're looking at coaching trees of guys from John Gruden's generation, what John Gruden came up under Mike Holmgren. So the two guys that branch off from Holmgren are probably Andy Reid and John Gruden, right? If you look at John Gruden's coaching tree, not a single fucking person on the defensive side ever can you really say it be attributed to John Gruden over the course of his career. What John Gruden did do when he got to Tampa Bay was lucked into a team that had Warren Sapp, Derek Brooks, John Lynch, Rondé Barber, Hall of Famers on that fucking defense. Ever since then, he does not know how to pick defensive coordinators or to put the right personnel in charge of that, which is why it goes back to why I always criticize John Gruden. I give him credit for being one of the greatest quarterback minds in the history of the NFL. But after that is when there are a lot of fucking holes in his resume. And a lot of that sometimes is just picking the right guys. If you look at a lot of these other coaching trees, even if you're somebody that specializes in offense compared to defense, you have enough relationships where there's still both sides of the coin to develop in your coaching tree for a guy with this sort of legacy that he has, or the name recognition that he has. If you're looking at the offensive coaching tree for him, you've got Sean McVay, Kyle Shanahan, legit, completely legit. But on defense, it's always been a hole for John. It always has been.
I mean, and it goes back to my favorite thing to say: self-awareness. Know that you're not good at picking the personnel or picking.
So right, didn't he have? Isn't Raheem Morris a part of his coaching tree?
Yeah, I knew that's what you were going to bring up.
No, I'm asking.
No, he's not.
Okay,
he's not, because Raheem Morris was a holdover. Still, you can even attribute Raheem Morris to Tony Dungy more than you can attribute to John Gruden. And it's insane.
But what I'm saying is, like, I'm not talking about, like, you always bring up John. I'm talking about the people that he's putting in charge.
But it's him.
He fucked up by putting Paul Gunther in charge.
Right. But I'm saying it's not an exception, it's the rule.
Like, no. But what I'm saying is, like, at this point, how you come off to, like, for how I hear it, is more so like, it doesn't matter what the person does. It's the fact that John Gruden put them there. So
No.
Like, that's how it comes off. Because you see what I'm saying.
No, I get it.
But you see how you respond every time.
I get it. But the same reason, if Mike Pence does a shitty job in the administration, I'm going to blame Mike Pence. But you know who I'm also going to blame? The motherfucker that chose him to be VP. If your head guy in charge and you have the personnel authority to put whoever you want in charge, that to me screams of something. The fact that it could even have been whispered that there was any nepotism in that job at all, whether or not it's true or not, the fact that there even could have been an argument that was the case is completely fucked up and wrong, because John does not have that resume that says that he even knows what to do when it comes to the defensive side of the football. He needs to get somebody that's outside of his tree, because there is no one in his tree that can get the job done.
Paul Gunther in his tree?
All I know is that Paul Gunther is his friend. I don't know if he's in his tree, but even if you want to have Paul Gunther on his tree, the only thing you can really tell me about Paul Gunther is how he was respected by the team.
No,
Paul Gunther
became his friend. He became his friend after John retired or like left coaching.
Right, but still, they're hanging out in the tree together.
My battery's going dead. My battery's going dead. All right, so like that's enough for that.
But even here's the thing: if you want to look at Paul Gunther's career, Cincinnati
my battery
Bengals
is going dead
to the Washington.
My battery's going dead.
Why don't you?
My battery's going dead.
Why don't you have it plugged in?
Because I just came from Maryland, bro. So calm down. Let's go into the picks for this week.
All right.
The Vikings versus the Lions.
I had a good
Ryan, you actually won, by the way.
Yeah, we should
you
give
won.
him his flowers.
You won by 1. Yeah, so like both me and Kadeen had 9, you had 10. So
let's go. Hey, coming in hot.
Call it a comeback.
Coming in hot towards the end of the season.
All right, so Vikings Lions, who you got?
I can't pick the Lions to do anything. Vikings.
So
Vikings, Dalvin Cook.
Okay.
That didn't work so well last week, though.
They came with Alvin Kamara.
Especially with Derrick Henry.
Derrick Henry had a rough day. Derrick Henry was a little rough. Yeah. I'm still not picking against Derrick Henry.
All right. All right. Bucks Falcons, who you got?
Let me get the Bucks. Get a good win before the playoff starts.
Okay.
Give me the Falcons.
Although I'm not sure, are they going to be resting anybody?
Who knows? But we can come back later.
No.
Jets Pats. I got the Jets.
It'd be so Jets for them to win this game and Adam Gase comes back.
Nah, you know why? Because they're playing against the Patriots. And I can see Bill Belichick thinking, Like, you know what? We ain't went like we're eliminated. Let's fucking make it worse for the Jets and better for us.
Also, the Jets have been playing some decent ball.
The only reason he would do it is not for draft position. It would be to make sure that the Jets retain Adam Gase next year. But I'm going the Pats. I'm going Pats.
All different things.
I'm going Jets.
Hey, okay. All right. So Dolphins, Bills. I picked the Dolphins. Dolphins need this game. The Bills don't.
Bills need this game too. I'm taking
you do?
Huh? Yeah.
For what? I thought, aren't y'all already in the playoffs?
I think we clinch at home.
Yeah, I'm saying, what's the seeding
looking like? You already clinched it.
What's the seeding looking like as far as a home game?
Yeah.
Let's see. The Bills are 12-3. The Steelers are 12-3. So
where the Chiefs at? They're still 2 losses.
14-1.
14-1. All right. Yeah. Never mind. They don't really have as much to play for as I thought. Let's go Miami. Ryan Fitzpatrick becomes the Washington quarterback next year with Alex Smith. It's just a geriatrics kid.
Yeah, but I don't see Buffalo not playing the whole game, knowing that the Ravens could. I mean, it's Ravens, Cleveland, Miami, Tennessee.
You're taking the Bills.
Yeah, I am, but I'm just saying they're all at 10-5. So if the Bills don't play, they're just letting Miami in potentially. So I don't see that happening.
I don't either. I like Ryan playing again.
Bills.
All right. Steelers, Browns. I picked the Browns.
Yeah.
They get their wide receivers back. Browns.
It doesn't matter. You got Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer.
Ben's not playing. Yeah. And Jags, Colts.
I don't care if Cleveland doesn't have their wide receivers. Give me another team.
Yeah, that's true.
Jags, Colts. I picked the Colts.
Colts.
Okay. Titans, Texans. I got the Texans.
Titans.
Okay. Cards, Rams. I picked the Rams.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Give me the Cards.
Rams.
Okay.
Rams are without Jared Goff.
Saints, Panthers. I got the Saints.
Saints.
Kadeem?
Saints.
Okay. Packers, Bears. I got the Packers.
Yeah.
Okay. Kadeem?
Bears.
Okay.
Bears.
Chargers, Chiefs. I picked the Chiefs.
Chiefs.
Chargers. Chiefs are going to set everybody.
All right. Seahawks, Niners. I got the Seahawks.
Seahawks.
Raiders, Broncos. I got the Raiders.
Broncos.
Okay. Whiffed, Eagles. I got the Whiffed.
Yeah.
Whiffed. Make the playoffs.
Yeah.
Cowboys, Giants. I got the Cowboys.
Cowboys.
Yeah.
All right. And then finally, Ravens, Bengals. I got the Ravens.
Ravens.
Bengals.
Okay.
Hey, they worked for me the last 2 weeks. Let's keep it going.
All right. So my final thoughts. First one, rest in peace, Ty Jordan. Early reports are saying there was an accidental gunshot. He was 19 years old, and he won Offensive Player or Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, for the Utes.
Yeah. Sad story. More will come out, so we'll see what else happens. Also, Master P and Baron Davis are talking about buying Reebok.
Huge.
That's fucking awesome.
Yep. And then my final thought: the Mavs beating the ship out the Clippers by 50.
You say beat the ship?
The shit.
I thought you said ship, and it was gonna work because Clipper ship. I thought it was clever. It was a Ryan line.
I didn't even mean to happen, but it
I
did.
like it.
All right. So yeah, the Mavs are up by 50 at halftime. They ended up winning by 51.
That is an NBA record.
Yep.
All-time
Shot
NBA
clock
record.
era.
That's insane.
I loved it. And
that's without
Porzingis,
the unicorn.
And it pissed me off because when you look at all the sports talk, I mean, it's more sexy to talk about the Clippers and like what the fuck is happening, but then it's like, yeah, they're up without Kawhi, but we're out without our best defensive player, and potentially like the toughest cover on offense.
You had one player outscore the entirety of the Clippers, so like I don't know, that's embarrassing.
Yep, but I loved it. All right, KDot, you next.
So our guest spot last week with Brendan, I think did really well, even though we went a little too far. But he told me to come clean on the podcast. I found out before we potted last Saturday. Me and my girlfriend have been in close contact with somebody that does have COVID-19, so we are in a 14-day quarantine.
Oh, shit.
It's very likely we will both have it, but
Are you serious?
Shit,
I will
dude.
say this is that I think everybody kind of knows that I have been probably the most careful of anyone when it comes to the COVID thing. No matter how well you're doing, you could be doing everything right. It's still very, very possible to catch this thing, or at least put yourself at risk of this thing. I think that everybody has to have and there has to be some grace that you give yourself and don't beat yourself up too much. But what I will say is that once we did find out, we have done everything the right way as far as making sure that we're not putting anybody else at risk, which meant like Christmas we spent by ourselves, pretty much without anybody else this weekend. But we're doing what we need to do to get it done. And I think that we'll be okay. And I'm hoping everybody else just does what they need to do to maintain that safety and security that they need.
Yeah, and so somebody I'm in close contact with all the time, him and his whole family have it. Our whole office is tested negative multiple times. So I feel like it's more of being in a super closed environment for a significant amount of time. But you know, they're doing what they have to do. I missed Christmas with my family because I was stuck down here. Turns out I was negative 3 times actually. So, you know, it sucks, but guess what? Gonna have New Year's now. I get to have Christmas next year. I get to have Easter. I get to have, you get all these extra days with the people you love just by doing the right thing for a couple days. It's not a big deal. But also I hope you're okay.
Nice.
Well, for my final thought.
Well, now I can do this uninterrupted and let you get
Yeah.
your final thought in. Let's just do this real quick. Just make sure it's nice and comfortable for
Arsenal. Also, I've had a cold for like the last couple days. Just because you have a cold doesn't mean you have COVID, but definitely get tested so you're not out here wandering around. Arsenal won again today. That's 2 in a row after dropping like 6 games in a row.
They're coming back like your NFL football picks.
Yeah, you know what? All you got to do is be good at the back end.
It's the season of Ryan.
Yeah, if Dwayne Haskins has just been good for 1 game, we might not even be talking about him. He didn't come through on the back end. That's his problem.
Fair enough.
But we got literally all sports are about to be here. We got NHL coming back on the 13th of January. Also, did you see that the King, Henrik Lundqvist, is having open heart surgery, which is why he's missing this season?
Yeah, and that makes all the sense in the world. As far as yeah, okay.
First of all, any heart condition, you probably want to sit out the season. Open heart surgery, they have to replace his aorta. No thanks. I would be surprised if he ever plays again, but
same here. I would have loved to see him play, but
yeah, I hope he does. Like, comes in for like a cameo for 1 game, like next year or something.
That'd be awesome.
Just sit in that would be super sweet. But there was one thing I think we missed. What?
Gotcha. That's right. The Death Star. Hold on, I get the shit. All right, the Death Star at Duco. Boom.
Boom.